Hello and welcome back to another March 5th edition of Cyclone InCYders. I'm your host, Ben Olson, and tonight we've got a special episode for you. This past week, the Iowa State swimming and diving team competed at the Big 12 Championships in Austin, Texas, where the Cyclones finished in 5th place and had some really great success in a few relays and some individual events. And so joining us tonight are Iowa State swimmers Anna Andersen and Martha Haas. Thanks for coming on the show tonight, you guys, and I just want to say off the bat, congrats on your performance last week.
Yes, thank you.
So I'm going to start with a question for both of you, and you can go ahead and feel to answer as you are comfortable. How do you guys feel overall about your individual and then the team performance last week? Finishing 5th, but also set a lot of PRs.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, our team had a really great meet individually. Like if you look at our team scores and everything that we did, we got last, which is pretty unfortunate, but there's not a whole lot we can do about it. We really both had really great swims, and we accomplished our job. And we're not saying that our teammates didn't accomplish our job, but the Big 12 is also such a really big conference with it when it comes to big swimming names, and it's really competitive. So you've really got to have that top edge if you want to get in on all of those things. So, and then there's Texas, and Texas is full of Olympians and NCAA qualifiers. So it's not that we didn't perform really well, it's just that a lot of people performed way above.
No doubt. Definitely a tough conference. For both of you, are there any accomplishments this year that you're most proud of?
I think when we beat West Virginia at our dual meet, it came down to the last relay that I think our whole team was pretty proud of. That was a true team performance for sure.
Yeah, it was really exciting.
We came really close to Iowa this year.
Yeah, for the first time in a really long time. It came down to maybe the last two events. We were leading the meet, and then it was kind of a heartbreaker, but it's also such an honor to be so close to such a great team like that.
Really, really building strengths for the future going forward, because I know both you girls are coming back next year, too.
We are.
Anna, talking to you specifically now, you were a member of the 400 freestyle that broke the school record for the third consecutive year last week with a time of 3 minutes, 21.21 seconds. How good did that race feel afterward?
It felt really good just because, I was on the race last year, so I wasn't really super worried about with the record or anything along those lines, but I really want to come home with another medal, and that requires a top 3 finish. And so really we were just out there racing completely, and then we kind of watched our head coach Dwayne at the very end of it, and Evan just goes, "Oh my gosh, Dwayne Mouth's school record." So we were really excited, and it was really exciting because I got to be on that relay with Evan. She's one of my best friends, and it was her last race. She's a senior, so it'll be really fun to get my name up on there, the board with her, because we practice every single practice together basically. And Emma Rulli was another one on that relay, and she's so hardworking and really deserving of everything. So I was really excited for her to get the record and get the relay and everything along those lines. And then there's Lynn, and Lynn just does her thing, and everything she does is just fast. So it was a really fun group of girls to get to do that with.
Is there anything you think that Dwayne's doing or you as a team that have made you so successful in that relay the past few years?
I don't know. Dwayne just knows how to get sprint freestylers, and it's just been really showing.
And then, of course, you also competed in the 100 free final, clocking the 5th fastest time in school. How great did you feel about that performance? Were you nervous going in?
Yes. Oh my, Martha laughs because she knows how nervous I get. I literally stand up by there behind the blocks and I smash my goggles into my face because that's my biggest fear, is that my goggles are going to fall off. But it felt really good. I had no clue what my time was going to be, and I was just really excited to be in the A final in the first place. So when I touched the wall, and it was 49.8, and that was a big goal of mine, was to go under 50. It's kind of a barrier in swimming. So I was really excited when that happened, and I hadn't looked at the clock yet, but I could hear Dwayne and everybody yelling, so I knew it was something good. So I was really excited when I saw that time.
Awesome. And of course, Martha, you were also very successful in Austin, earning second team All Big 12 honors in the 200 breaststroke. And you set a PR of 2 minutes, 17.63 seconds. What was your mentality heading into the final for that race?
I was just very excited. I missed the final by a few 100ths in the 100 breaststroke the day before. So I was so relieved to get in to the 200 breaststroke final, and I was just really excited because it was our last my last race of the meet, and I was next to my teammate who's also one of my best friends. So I was just relaxed and confident because I had a good prelim swim, so I knew that I had a little more in me for the night.
You mentioned that you got a swim right alongside one of your teammates, and then there was a third Cyclone who also competed in the 200 breaststroke. How much did that mean to you and maybe to them to be able to race against each other or as teammates?
It meant a lot to all of us. I think Anna would agree, the breaststroke group is kind of like the most...
The OG dog pack.
Yeah, we're a pretty tight-knit group of girls. Just because we all came in, the three of us came in at the same time, so we have trained next to each other basically every day the past 2 years. So it meant a lot, and it's as much fun as it is to see your hard work pay off. Seeing your teammates' hard work pay off is probably more satisfying.
It's great to see memories like that being made. And I mean, finally, I've got a couple of questions just kind of to give our listeners some insight as to what your preparation is like. What kind of things does Dwayne say to you guys maybe in practice or before your big races to kind of get you mentally prepared or hyped up?
Dwayne, he's got some pretty good words sometimes. He really likes to pull analogies out sometimes that are pretty random. Just to kind of, I think he gets frustrated in the moment sometimes and kind of says some pretty spur of the moment things. But his main thing is like when you have the opportunity and you prepared for the opportunity and you put the two things together, you're going to be successful. And that's like the biggest thing that he likes to tell us is like when you work hard, like it'll pay off, and just be prepared for it and just like trust yourself that you'll be able to do it.
And of course, to our listeners, we're talking about Dwayne Sorensen, the swimming head coach. And finally, you're both going to be swimming again next year, coming back. What kind of goals do you have for that season? Are you raising the bar?
We're raising the bar.
Yeah.
We're raising the bar, yeah. We've got some pretty big goals for next year. I think especially because our team's so young, too, that there's a lot of young potential on it. And like our freshmen are the most energetic class for sure. Those guys are off the wall. And they're all really ready to work hard. And I think this year just was we had such a great dual meet season. But then Big 12, obviously, we didn't get the placing that we'd like. So I think that we're really hungry to keep doing better.
Awesome. I guess one more thing. What's your favorite race, if you had to ask for both of you?
I like swimming the breaststroke leg of the 200 medley relay.
I'd have to say my favorite thing is the 100 free.
Good to know, good to know. And of course, I was talking with him earlier, no more morning practices.
No more morning practice.
I bet that feels pretty good. They're heading into the off season. Well, once again, congratulations last week, you guys, and thanks for coming in and taking the time to talk with me on Cyclone InCYders.
Of course. Yes, thank you.
After the break, we'll be right back with more analysis on men's and women's basketball and maybe some gymnastics. Stay tuned. You're watching Cyclone InCYders. Welcome back to InCYders. We hopped over to the desk now to break down some more Cyclone sports for you. I'm joined here with Mwirichia and Hannah Allen. And guys, let's jump right into it, talking some men's basketball with sad faces. Yes. It was an embarrassing loss last Saturday to Texas, 86-69, and they're 1-3 in their last 4 games, you guys. Les, let's start with you. Why is this team so inconsistent recently?
Well, I was on Sound Off on Sunday night, and I told Keith Murphy, I told John Cedar, I said, I think personally it's an interior issue. There's no chemistry. And I was speaking with some other guys, some other sports guys here on campus. We believe that it's an inside job. Something's not working internally because it's day and night with this team, Ben. One day these guys are on, one day these guys are off. One day Cameron Lodge's playing, the next day Cameron Lodge's not playing. So you don't know, and it's just a lack of inconsistency, and that's what we're seeing. And it's already March, Ben. So it's way too late to try and start putting things together because I personally believe that this team, this roster can hang with anybody in the country, but they just don't have it figured out. And that's what's frustrating as a fan, as somebody who covers this team. For me, I mean, I just don't know the answer. How well will we do in the Big 12s? I know you're going to get there, but it's just tough to say, man. It's just a lack of inconsistency.
I completely agree with you, and I think as of the past few seasons, there's always seemed to be some kind of internal mechanism that isn't working, and that's where the Prom haters come out. Mm-hmm. But, we've learned to let Prom do his thing, and then hopefully tournament time they figure it out, because I agree, this team has the talent to go really deep.
I agree.
It's just a matter of when we're going to get there and sort of start to see that consistency. Hannah, are you more concerned with the way the defense or the offense is playing right now? Because Texas, they both look pretty bad.
I'd say offense. I think to win a game, you've got to have offense. You can play defense, but you have to be making those shots on the other side of the court. And just against Texas, they were just off and missing. And it feels like it's been like that all season. Their defense has been pretty consistent, but offense is just like very inconsistent, like you guys said. But it's just you got to be making those shots and then playing tough on the other end, but making those shots is what's the most important.
If I can piggyback off of Hannah really quick, I think it's, again, back with the chemistry, Ben, there's a lot of weight on Mwirichia, yeah? Yes, he's the Big 12 leader, but I feel like not everything has to go through him. Lindell can get into his stuff. Nick can get into his stuff, right? Jacobson can work in his stuff. So when I feel, of course you have the freshman Taylor, and you have Tyrese on there, and these guys are guys that are interdisciplinary, that can add on offense. And what's lacking, I think what Hannah's really trying to say is everything's trying to run through Shayok right now, and then guys aren't confident about their shots, and guys aren't confident about shot selections, and not everybody's getting the shot they want, and that's what's creating that imbalance, and that's why it's not working, in my opinion.
I agree.
I'll play some devil's advocate here, and so we know that Prome's not a set offense guy. He just likes to see flow out of his team, and so I think you could almost point a finger at the defensive end, where when they're letting the other team make as many shots as they are, then they have to come up the court with the other team's defense already set, and they're missing out on those transition opportunities and maybe catching somebody out of position. And so I think that's kind of a big factor into why our offense is cooling off maybe. If they need to pick it up a little more on the defensive end. It's tough to tell, though. And so they've got 2 games left, West Virginia and, of course, Texas Tech at home, which is going to be a big one for deciding who wins the Big 12. So after those 2 games, guys, they head into the Big 12 tournament in Kansas City. So I ask you, Les, and we'll go to Hannah, have postseason expectations changed for this team?
I think so. For me, early in the season, looked promising, looked like we have, but again, Ben, it's March, and we don't have it figured out. So as a fan, as somebody who covers this team, it's really hard for me to say these guys are ready for this tournament. These guys are ready to move forward. As of right now, I'm just with a big question mark, and I'm on that I have to see it bus. Does that make sense?
That's right.
Yeah.
I completely agree.
Yeah.
Hannah?
Well, after that Kansas State game, we were talking about, 3 or 4 seed. Like, we were super excited because we saw that team come together and play really well and beat a really good Kansas State team. But now I'm thinking, like, lower seed, like probably 6, 7, or 8, and it's just, they've just gone downhill, and it's sad to see, but I think they'll still compete in the tournament, but I don't think they'll make it very far.
I think as far as the Big 12s go, for me, it seems like an either eliminated first round kind of game or they go all the way to the championship kind of game. This seems like maybe the year where, Kansas might not win the Big 12, but then they go and dominate the Big 12 tournament, kind of how other teams have done in the past. What kind of predictions do you guys have, maybe?
As
for the Big 12 tournament.
For the Big 12 tournament, I mean,
out?
Like I said, Ben, this team can hang with anybody in the country, anybody in the Big 12. So it's just a matter of execution as a prediction. Depending on the seed that we get, let's say maybe a 6. We'll really have to battle and see these better seeds. And of course, we've seen everybody in the conference so far, and those adjustments can be made accordingly. But as of if a 6 or an 8, a lower seed, you're really going to have to battle. But I will not count Iowa State out because I know this team can hang with anybody in this country when they have it figured out.
That's smart. What about you, Hannah?
Yeah, so like I said, when everyone's playing together and when we're playing like a team and when everyone's healthy, I think we can make it far. I think we could possibly win the Big 12 tournament, but if it's not everyone coming together and if it's not like everyone healthy, because Nick Weiler-Babb just injured his knee, I think that's going to be really hard on this team when Cameron Lard has to sit out a game and these big players that they count on have to stop and sit, and they're not able to play together as one is when it gets difficult. So if they can play together as one, then I do think that they can make it pretty far, but if they keep playing like they've been playing, I don't know.
It'll be interesting to see. We hope to see all you Cyclone fans down there in Hilton South just like every year. We think that that makes a big difference for how they play in the Big 12 tournament. And now we can switch to talking about a team on the opposite end of the spectrum, a team that is really hot right now, the Iowa State women's basketball team. 3 huge games these last 3 games. They beat Texas Tech on a game winner by Bridget Carleton.
Yes.
Fennelly picked up his 500th win. Then they go into Austin and defeat the Longhorns to clinch second place in the Big 12. 82-73, they won that game. And then finally, last night, they grinded out a big senior night win against Kansas. Carleton finished her regular season career at Hilton with 20 points, 11 rebounds. So what are your guys' thoughts of how this team is playing right now?
This is a phenomenal team, Ben, and I've been to every single home game as, of course, the MC on the court.
That's right.
And it's phenomenal to see what Coach Bill and his whole staff are putting together. This is a spectacular team, and they've only lost maybe 3 games at home, if I'm not wrong, 2 or 3 games at home to Texas and I believe to Baylor. And again, I don't want to get too ahead of you, but this is a phenomenal basketball team here. Bridget Carleton, strength with the seniors here. Bridget Carleton, Alexa Middleton. You saw her last night with the no-look pass. Dime. Ashley Jones, a true freshman on that lineup. I mean, sitting in the corner. Maddie Wise, a sophomore on the team. Just a phenomenal, well put together team. Again, with the strength. Kristen Scott, another sophomore who's just impressive. She had
shooting lights out.
Shooting lights out. Just phenomenal on the court. This is a really good team. And I mean, that's it. I'll let you go take us further.
Well, I mean, speaking of how good this team is, I remember seeing this team in November when we just started filming them, and I remember watching them in practice thinking this team has the ability to go really far. Yeah. And now they're playing like that in March, which is really encouraging to see. Yeah. But so, of course, 2 fantastic seasons that we wanted to point out. Carleton, definitely up for the running in Player of the Year in the Big 12. And then, of course, Fennelly could be Coach of the Year. And we'll all get to talk about this.
Wow.
Both people are very deserving of these awards. Who do you think is more likely to win their award, Hannah?
I think Bridget Carleton. She's been on fire this year, and she's a leader. Yeah. And for that team to have someone leading them like that and to be playing as well as she's been playing this year and the past 4 seasons that she's been at Iowa State, it's really amazing. And I do think that she will get that Player of the Year.
But you, Les?
Senior night was pretty emotional yesterday.
Oh, yeah.
And to see Bridget Carleton, now we're in the postseason, to see Bridget Carleton on her last time coming off of that bench, as they call her name, it was an emotion. She took a deep breath there and just kind of sat there and inhaled and exhaled, and it was quite a sight to see. So I'll back up Hannah and say that Bridget is very well deserving of this award. Just everything that she's put together. I mean, not just this season. Okay, yeah, Player of the Year matters this year, but I'm thinking about putting it all together. All 4 years and what she's done for this, what she's done, how she's elevated this team. 2,000 career points here at Iowa State. That speaks for itself. And so Bridget, Hannah, I love that you said she's a leader, a vocal leader. And a leader, an action leader, right? Mm-hmm. You see her producing on the court. So in my eyes, there's no better way, and I don't think anybody else in the country is doing it better than her.
I couldn't have said it better myself. I think Carleton should be the clear choice for Big 12 Player of the Year, but also it cannot be understated that Bill Fennelly knows his teams, and year in and year out, he's going to produce. And so, of course, this year, predicted to finish 6th, finished 2nd. Perfect. He did it again with a relatively young team also. And then Bridget, of course, is just doing a great job of leading them. So how far do you guys see this team going in the Big 12 tournament? And then we'll take it to the next level even, maybe in the NCAAs.
Deep. That's what I said, deep. Very, very deep. This is, again, they've beaten almost everybody in the Big 12 except Baylor, Ben. So this team they've seen the competition. Coach Bill Fennelly, credit to him, again, 500 career wins. That's spectacular. And again, just watching him when I'm at the games, this guy makes the necessary adjustments. A lot of people see Coach Bill and they see him mad all the time, but that's just how he is. He's thinking 2-3 plays ahead. He's thinking 2-3 possessions ahead, and he knows who he wants on the court at the appropriate time, and just his ability to adjust to say, okay, I don't need this person here right now. I'm going to sit you for a good 5 minutes and replace you for a minute. And those are the coaching things, those and his staff that backs him up. This team is going to go very deep, Ben. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. I think they'll go deep too. I think it will be a struggle to beat that Baylor team, but I do think they have it in them. Yeah. This team plays so well together with so many older players and then also the younger players, and just the way they mix and the way their bench works in with it. They're just a good team, and they are able to beat those tough teams as in Baylor, and I really do think that they could go really deep, and I think they could maybe win it.
Yeah, this team's looking at, depending on their performance in the Big 12 tournament, maybe a 3 seed is likely possibly even a 2 seed in the NCAA tournament. So I think if they just keep sharing the ball, and then even the defense is just fantastic the way they're playing. Fennelly's always been a great job of coaching that end of the court. I'm really looking forward to this team's chances in the postseason.
Oh, yeah.
And we're going to switch over to everybody's favorite topic now, the Cy-Hawk rivalry, more specifically a Cyclone win in the Cy-Hawk rivalry. We're talking gymnastics, folks. They went into Iowa City last Saturday, pulled out a close 196.275 to 196.250 victory. That's their first win in Iowa City since 2010. Les, I know you got to see some highlights. What do you think of the way this young team is performing, especially in a match like that?
Yeah, I mean, this is something special. To go into Carver Hawkeye Arena, that place is loud, man. I don't know if you've ever been in there, but that place just roars. Whatever's going on in there, wrestling, gymnastics, it's a freaking roar in there. As of this team, you have some gals that are coming off of injury. This is a fairly young team too, with some freshmen in there. Grace, Sophia. These gals are young. They're ready. And speaking with Coach Nielsen, Coach Kristen, they're trying new stuff, Ben, and that's what makes this team able to be a team like Iowa. They're throwing new routines. They're not afraid to change it up time and time again. If somebody, say, Sydney Converse, she remember with us at Cyclones TV, and also a gymnast, for her to come in her last year here and just. Yes, she's faced adversity, but she's on that beam, and her teammates are cheering her on, and it's just so fun to watch, man. This is a great team, man.
Yeah, I believe she scored a career high, I think, on beam in Iowa City. And I mean, here's a crazy stat for you. That was the first time in 19 years that the gymnastics team put up over 196 points in Iowa City, and that's with as many freshmen as they have. And, you know, I think we also have to give credit to the leader, Megan Sievers, on that team. She set a new PR for the all-around score. And so, of course, Iowa State's had some success in the past few years, sending like one qualifier to the NCAA championships. Do you like her chances as we're only 2 meets left in the regular season?
Yeah, not only Megan, but also MJ, Madeline Johnson, phenomenal athlete. Again, Sydney Converse, we mentioned her. Grace, who is a freshman as well, but she's so strong on the beam. Coach Nielsen told me, you better watch out for Grace, because she's a freshman, and so she can be questionable, but if she does a perfect routine on the beam, she could easily get a 10. And so those are some things to look for. Those are some things that they're working at. Sending some gals forward onto the tournament. I think it's definitely been maybe 3 or 4, seriously.
And I think you know, it can't be understated. Again, Jay Ronane's done a great job with this team, and it's really encouraging to see them climbing the rankings, like after that win at Iowa City late in this year. So keep an eye out for the Iowa State gymnastics team. Hannah, of course, the softball team had a great weekend this past weekend in Phoenix, Arizona, winning 3 out of their last 5. Tell us a little bit about that.
Well, they came out strong in Phoenix, Arizona, and it was very nice to see. We saw an amazing win from Emma Hyland on Sunday against South Dakota in a walk-off win. She pitched 9 innings and didn't give up a single earned run. Yeah, so that is pretty good for the senior right-handed pitcher, and it's great to see her start off her senior season like that. The losses were close losses, so I think that's important too to touch on, because they lost to Northern Colorado 6-7, so only by 1 run, and then to Grand Canyon by 2 runs. So I think that they were all very close games, and they are looking pretty good.
No, yeah, we talked about it a couple weeks ago, how important it is that this team's finally starting to get some consistent pitching, and how that's going to really translate into more wins for them. Les, you got something you wanted to add?
Yeah, I think Hannah hit it right on the head. Phenomenal to see Emma Hyland return back on this team and really prove herself. Last season, I think she was on the border on, you know, I mean, we knew she was a good pitcher. We just didn't really see it. And so now I think taking that time, having in the offseason, taking the time to really work at it, and especially with Coach Pinkerton, really putting this thing together. Ben, it's really exciting to be a Cyclone right now. In all athletics, seriously, it's really fun to see. I mean, this program is rising. Some new recruits that came in, such strong recruits. A couple JUCO recruits, a couple just redshirt freshmen returning. So this is a good, well put together team, and Hannah and I will be calling some games later this year, and so we're really excited to do that.
You know what? You hit the nail on the head talking about it's exciting to be a Cyclone right now because we can't stop talking about good teams, folks. Jumping into wrestling,
Let's go.
They're back in the notable ranks. Finished the season 10-4, and they're gonna head down to Tulsa, Oklahoma for the Big 12s. Les, what kind of expectations do you have for them down there?
For the Big 12s. So tomorrow we're meeting with Coach Brett Metcalf, assistant coach. Kevin Ganson and I will get a chance to chat with him for our show, Mad IQ, so be on the lookout for that. But this is a really well put together team. Again, all these teams, seriously, I mean, I cannot say enough, man. Great recruits, good freshmen, good redshirt freshmen. I spoke with Kevin Gatson, a former Big 12 champion, former NCAA champion here at Iowa State, and the biggest nugget that I got from him was when you're drawing for who you're going to wrestle in the seeding, you don't want to draw an Iowa State guy because these guys, even though we have wrestlers that are ranked 3, 4, 5, maybe 6, 7, 8, but these are some guys that you don't want to put yourself in a situation and get caught and then find yourself, with your shoulders on the back of the mat. And I'm talking about guys like Ian Parker, Willie Miklas. So unfortunate for Willie, his dad passed away yesterday.
Yes.
So big shout out to the Miklas family.
Thoughts out to his family.
So absolutely. Jarrett Dagan, you don't want to. That guy's like a freaking spider. I swear. You don't want to. He'll trip you. He'll find a way to take you down, man. And then once you're down, he'll wrap himself around you, and you'll be on your back. Austin Gomez, Gannon Grimmel at heavyweight. Just a good team, and a lot of credit to Coach Kevin Dresser. A lot of credit to the Cyclone fan base that's going out to support this team. So you guys going out there to Tulsa, Oklahoma. I unfortunately won't get a chance to go out there, but I know I'll be definitely streaming it.
No, yeah, and we talked about this also a couple of weeks ago, how encouraging it is to finally see Iowa State wrestling, being that team that teams don't want to get matched up with and having those guys. And of course, with the unfortunate passing of Willie Miklas' father, I expect not only an inspired performance out of him, but the team as a whole. And so it should be a really positive week down in Tulsa, Oklahoma. I agree. That's about all we've got for you. Like we said, make sure to follow the wrestling team as they compete in Big 12s. The Iowa State women's basketball team also has the Big 12 tournament this weekend in Oklahoma City. You'll be able to find all those updates on cyclones.com. And so for Les and Hannah, I'm Ben Olson.
Can I throw something in real quick?
Go ahead, Les.
Hey, big shout out to our guy Zach Williamson. Got a job as a weekend sports announcer in Nebraska. Am I correct? In Nebraska,
covering sports in Central Nebraska.
It started right here. Was on this desk right here. Now he's on to do bigger and better things. So really proud of you, buddy. Zach, you doing your thing, my man.
Congrats, Zach, and hopefully that'll be us someday, right?
Yeah, you already know.
That's all we've got for you, and as always, go Cyclones.